Hey, what's going on, everyone? Sly here with D. And D, it was kind of interesting watching the morning talk show host. Something that stood out was something that Rex Ryan said. For those of you who don't know what Purdy said last night after the game in the press conference, he said something very interesting. People were talking about. If you haven't seen it, check this out real quick.
Dude, I think Christian should be MVP. I really do believe that. You know, he does everything for us, runs the ball well, can catch the ball. He does everything, and so in my eyes, that's an MVP.
All right, so he says that, and then Rex Ryan said something that I was like, all right, got a little pumped about. Let's check this out.
Well, as you see, Brock Purdy is, as of this moment, an odds-on favorite to win MVP, but his tailback, Christian McCaffrey, is in the top 5, and the quarterback thinks the tailback should win. What do you think of that, Rex Ryan?
No, he's the MVP. Brock Purdy's the MVP of this league.
I like him saying it, though.
And, I love him saying that. I mean, the kid's another reason he should be the MVP because he gets it. And to me, let's give him the game manager tag, too, even though he throws for about 10 yards per pass attempt.
Yeah.
Like, the guy is an amazing player. He's doing it. If they don't have him in there, they're not even close to the team they are right now. They're not close.
Not close?
No, not close. This guy right here. Let's put our boy Trey Lance in there. Let's put whoever that they had before
Jimmy
in there.
Garoppolo.
It's a way different
If Jimmy
football
Garoppolo
team.
is still the quarterback of this team, are they still the team to beat?
No, absolutely not. This guy right here is playing his tail off.
All right, so he's saying Brock Purdy pretty much is lying, man, because he's the real MVP.
Yeah.
He's the man. And to tell you the truth real quick, I love Rex Ryan. From the beginning, like 2 months ago, this guy was saying that he's like the next Joe Montana. And he's like, everyone's been laughing at me, but who's laughing now, you know? So I love it, man. But what do you think about this?
Oh, man, like he's pretty much spot on. He did actually say, though, that he loved that Brock Purdy was saying that, unlike Colin Cowherd, because Colin Cowherd was like, oh man, like
Colin
he wears
Cowherd.
that hat backwards. But Rex Ryan's like, no, that's what you want in a leader. That he's like, hey, you know what? I like appreciate it, like the MVP, but McCaffrey's like, he's been holding it down. He deserves MVP. And he's like, you know what? Like, good on him. That shows like leadership. Like, you know, he wants other people to like to feed and like he wants other people to do good and he wants to see them win. But that takes like a leader, man, because it's not all about him. And that's the first step about leadership. So Brock Purdy, man, like at the end of the day, I think he's actually the MVP. With McCaffrey, he is having a hell of a season, him and Tyreek Hill. But I think Brock Purdy, it is a quarterback, award. And he's been playing the best. And you've seen it, man. Like the rest of the quarterback they've been saying. Now they're switching over to Lamar Jackson, man. Like that's how it is, man. And it's because they don't want to see this guy winning. But he's been like the best like quarterback and more efficient quarterback throughout the whole league. And so, yeah, I agree with like what Rex is saying.
Yeah, Rex, someone like for the longest time, he's been on that bandwagon. He hasn't come off. So it's a breath of fresh air, man. Because I remember watching the shows earlier, and he has been saying that stuff, and I know people are looking at him all crazy. I know Greeny was out there saying all this stuff, like, "What? Are you kidding me? How could you compare him to this?" But to me, he kind of Purdy has like a little bit of a little bit Joe Montana, but a lot of Tom Brady too. How he's able to see the field, boom, find the guy open, stay in the pocket, not afraid, with more athleticism, because you saw that touchdown he threw to McCaffrey, and then you heard guys today like Nick and Colin, oh well, that touchdown. Look at him, he's wide open. But dude, he's the one that avoided the pressure right up the middle. They don't talk about that part, how freaking he was running for his life, had to scramble to his left. While he's scrambling to his left, a dude in his face, chucking it up, finding the guy open, and then throwing it. So, it's going to happen. And then one thing that actually did piss me off a little bit was Colin Cowherd said that McCaffrey should be the MVP, which is nothing wrong with that. But then he says, we don't know if Purdy, he's going to be bouncing around from team to team in the next 3 or 4 years. So it's like, oh gosh, I don't know.
But I was like kind of shocked. I thought he was going to be like more on board with like Purdy because he was a big old like Jimmy G guy. And he's like been going for like the Niners, like low key. He's been like saying it like, like they're the team to beat and stuff like that. But man, it's kind of like surprising for him to like.
Today, I thought the narrative a little maybe would change because I thought Purdy had a badass game with 4 touchdowns. I thought it was probably one of his best games. But what I heard today from a talk show radio host was all of a sudden, Lamar looks like he's going to be the MVP. I'm like, where did this come from now? It came out of I'm like, nowhere. Everyone's talking about Brock, Dak. Then I'm just hearing this. I'm like, what the fuck?
And what was that guy?
Absolutely crazy.
He was there with Rex Ryan, the guy from ESPN.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I forget what his name is, but...
or Get Up.
Yeah, he was saying that, because he's a big old, like, Lamar. I heard him on First Take, and he was like saying like, "Oh man, like Lamar, do you see him? Like the playmaking, like the scrambling, all that." And I was like, dude, these guys not watch like Brock Purdy. Like we have like one of the worst offensive line, and this guy has like been like running for his life almost, but making plays happen, getting the balls where he needs to. He's feeding everybody. You, Kittle, Debo, McCaffrey, like. It's unreal, man. And I do like Lamar Jackson. I think he's a good quarterback, especially like with the weapons that he has. Like he's making plays, but man, that came out of nowhere, man. That like, oh, now he's MVP talk. I was like, typical,
okay.
man.
If it was last year Mahomes or the year before Mahomes, I would be like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like those 40 plus touchdowns, I get it. But there's not a quarterback out there that's going crazy. Even Lamar Jackson, he has 17 touchdown throws. That's like a little more than one a game.
Yeah.
It's like, so it doesn't make sense to me that everyone's all riding them, but there are a few guys, like I said, that Rex, maybe I'm trying to think who else has been on that pretty bad one. Maybe Chris Broussard, but maybe because he went to Iowa State, so he's like in love with Brock Purdy, but there isn't.
Maybe that one guy, what's his name? The guy on with the show with LaShawn McCoy.
But still, he still says stuff too. Even he said that Brock Purdy probably shouldn't be MVP. So I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
So it's all right, man. But I'm just glad like the guys that actually like watch the game, they're actually saying like the great stuff. Like the guy that comes on Great Coast South, the NFL films, the guys that watch like hundreds and hundreds of hours of film a week, are like, dude, this guy's like kind of special. JT O'Sullivan that watches hundreds and hundreds of hours of film. Chase Daniels, the guy that watches hundreds and hundreds of hours of film, those guys are the ones that are saying, dude, like this guy is actually showing that he's an MVP. Something that JT O'Sullivan said today on Twitter was like, show me another quarterback that's having the season that Brock Purdy's having. And then people were saying stuff, and then JT was just scolding them. So, I mean, these guys that are watching the film, I'm talking about these guys like Joey Taylor, Colin, Nick Wright, those guys aren't watching the film at all. They're just watching the game highlights and whatever, and then nitpicking different little stats. The 3-game losing streak, this is because of this and that. No, but the dudes that are out there studying the game, know the game, they're saying the great stuff, and those are the guys to listen to, the guys that have been watching it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's for the ratings and stuff, but I'm pumped, man. I really feel that this guy is the best. The MVP, as far as what it means to be MVP, he's got it this year.
Yeah.
And they probably won't give it to him because there's 50 writers, and a lot of these writers have agendas out there.
Exactly.
So it may not happen, but I don't know, man. It'll be a travesty, I think, if he doesn't get it. But at the end of the day, man, we just want to get that number 1 seed. And even Brock Purdy, the fact that he's able to, after the game, talk about other people. He's out there with Christian McCaffrey saying, oh, you deserve it. It's just like the field, man. We could have three 1,000-yard receivers, and that comes from Christian McCaffrey. That comes from Brock Purdy. And after the game, he's out there saying that Christian McCaffrey. So this guy's delivering on and off the field, man. He doesn't care what he's doing. He's just a smart guy, man. Absolutely smart dude. So we got him for $900,000. It's a steal of the NFL, and I don't know.
And it's gonna continue. I think this Sunday, I think we're gonna prove it. Going against the Ravens, I think Brock Purdy and the 49ers, because he even said, man, if we lose that game, it's because the offense slowed down, which I don't see it happening. And I think we're going to make a statement this Sunday. And then what else can they say? Because before, what they were saying is, they were trying to with Tyreek Hill, McCaffrey and all that, and trying to say well, it's also the losing streak, but Brock Purdy, man, he's overcome that. Like you said, he's been having the most efficient game since then. And so this Sunday is a huge game, and I'm looking forward to it because he's gonna because a lot of with his Arizona game, also what he solidified is we saw Sam Darnold, man. So now the narrative of a guy could come in and take that job, because they've been saying if Jimmy G was still there, would they still be a playoff contender? No, man. You saw what happened. Darnold went in there, and he has a better arm, in my opinion, than Jimmy G. And I know it takes more repetitions, but he did not look good. Jimmy G has lost his starting job. And so the narrative of somebody could just go in there and take Brock Purdy's spot and they'll still be a contender, I think that narrative's done. So that's why this Ravens game is a huge game.
And that's what Rex Ryan was saying. They were what about Jimmy G? You heard Rex, oh, hell no. All these people over and over. He's like, no, man, absolutely not. So they're still trying to spin that narrative no matter what. But he knocked off the number 1 MVP candidate in Hurts. He knocked off the number 1 candidate at the time in Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
It's time to knock off another one, baby. Then what else are you going to say? Who else are you going to put? It's after that, it's over. It's a wrap. So it's going to be a big game. But at the end of the day, we want that number 1 seed. It's looking good for us so far. And hopefully we we finally get it, man. But that's what we got, man. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Talk to you next time. Peace.